Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Metal Hand of God. Sort of. So, I'm waiting for Wayne to return from his sabbatical, and the Rum Guy is still off in Europe on a boat doing God knows what, probably drinking. So in the meantime, I'm finding fill-in co-hosts. Well, obviously Kyle. But, so for this episode, I decided to resurrect a podcast that I did last year called Grim Grinning Hosts. GGH was a very fun show, but unfortunately the schedules of myself and the other hosts just, didn't work out, and eventually I quit and the show became defunct. So since I had an opening this week, I decided, hey, wouldn't it be great to do one last episode of GGH? And so that's what we did. So if you're a regular fan of Metal Hand of God, I hope you'll stick around. We talk about fun things like Halloween Horror Nights. A lot of you are horror fans. We talk about Stranger Things. We do talk about Ready Player One, but don't worry, nothing. We kind of avoid spoilers because one of the guys didn't see it. So check it out. And I guess without further ado, here we go. Oh, also, if you're only here because you're a GGH fan, hey, check out other episodes. You might like Metal Hand of God. Anyway, so now without further ado, here we go.
We know the world really need another show about drugs and when I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you.
When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you.
When I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you.
And if I ever, hey, I know I'm gonna be the man that's riveting to you.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door
When I'm working.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final ever episode of the Grim Grinning Hosts podcast. You guys know, just throwing this out here, that's probably bullshit. We're going to be like Kiss or The Who or whoever and reunite like 16 times. We're going to go on a million farewell tours. Is he really doing this?
I don't think he is. I think he's full of shit. I think...
Maybe that's diarrhea. Challenge pissing, Grim Grinning Hosts is.
We good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Did we start yet? Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
Hold on.
This thing
Okay,
on?
I'm done.
All right. Well, that was an introduction to the show, and probably as fitting of an introduction as we could have asked for. Wasn't expecting much. If you guys were expecting some big, epic, climactic send-off, kind of like the third act of Ready Player One, Revenge of the Sith, whatever you want to compare it to. What are you kids talking about nowadays? Anyways, that was it. That was our version of it. Enjoy those pop culture references. Anyways, hello, everybody. It's nice to be back. My name's Hunter. And with me today, I have three fine gentlemen. Why don't we go ahead and talk to, what's up, Kenny? You know what? Just get out of the way. Come on.
What's up? What's happening? I just got back from the bathroom.
We're aware.
Yeah, we heard too many white Russians before recording.
Is that your asshole or?
What's happening, buddy? How you doing?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. I'm back. I actually lied to you guys last time. I had no idea how much defending Star Wars The Last Jedi on the internet was going to take up my time. So that's the reason Grim Grinning Hosts is dead, because a bunch of hateful bastards are all over the internet and they want to ruin something for me.
Hateful bastards. Adam, why do you hate fun? Why do you hate fun so much?
I don't hate fun. I just hate The Last Jedi, which it isn't.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe this is discussion for another time. I wish we would have had the opportunity to go all Rogue One on The Last Jedi, but it would have just ended up with me and whoever else kicking Adam to the curb and talking about.
Can you just introduce Travis so that I can just point out how
Who?
Mike Jones. You guys remember that reference, right?
No.
So good.
What's up, Travis?
What's going on? We back up in this bitch.
Is this Travis Big Dick videographer Terrell?
You goddamn right.
No. You know, I heard that you challenged Taylor Strickland to a fistcuff battle behind the bleachers at school tomorrow. Is this true?
Fisticuff? Like an old southpaw, like the Celtics guy, the Celtics mascot.
Yeah, you figured it out.
Fisticuffs.
Let me at him. That's how I imagine it. You remember that little, what was he, Adam? Was he like a little hawk in the Foghorn Leghorn Looney Tunes?
Thank you for turning to me for the old reference. Yes. Yeah, there was a little chick that, Foghorn used to, I don't know if that was what he said, but, yeah.
Are we talking about Taylor Strickland? Is that what?
No,
talking about Taylor's?
No, Foghorn Leghorn. He the old Looney Tunes cartoons. Foghorn used to have like a little nephew that was kind of like his version of Scrappy Doo.
Yep, he was Scrappy before Scrappy.
I can tell right now that I had to like retroactively do an intro to this episode because as soon as Taylor Strickland's name came up, I was like, oh, yeah, we're definitely catering to the GGH audience here.
Yeah, then Hunter brings up fucking Foghorn Leghorn. Was it like the 40s want their fucking conversation back?
Hold on. I'm not 40 for another year.
So I said the 40s.
It was like 1940.
Like 1940.
Nobody was exposing your age, you old bastard.
Cut that out.
I'm actually...
It's only early 30s.
I'm happy to say that I am on a show that I'm only the second youngest. Like there's two people much older than me on MHOG, so I get to be the young dumb full of cum,
young buck.
I get to be the Scrappy Doo of the Metal Hand of God.
Well, welcome, Metal Hand of God listeners, to this train wreck we used to call Grim Grinning Hosts, which was a now defunct, unfortunately, not safe for work theme park podcast where we just hurled a bunch of insults at each other. But I think there was a lot of good information in there. So we're bringing it back one last time. The reason being is Grim Grinning Hosts did not have a proper send-off. We kind of just said, hey, we're going to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. And we were like, yeah! And then guess what happened? We never got back together to do a part 2. It's dead. Once again, fuck you, Last Jedi haters. You know, it's just...
All those people waiting on our Scare Zone reviews. I jokingly said we'll be back in January. Here it's... April.
Who cares? They all fucking sucked anyways.
If you
except Trick or Treat.
After you listen to this episode, if you want to go back to like the MHOG episodes from December, you can hear me talking about all the Last Jedi lovers who were pissed at me because I didn't like their fucking movie.
Well, that's actually why I decided to do this with you. You guys thought we were going to talk about theme parks today, but no. Right into the Star Wars discussion.
Nice.
I don't even know if I could really discuss that movie, to be honest with you.
We're going to do a live commentary.
I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah,
good.
Well, it just
good
came
for
out.
You. We're doing it right now, live commentary.
But guys. Let's pull it all back in. Grim Grinning Hosts is a theme park podcast, and we started off by talking about Halloween Horror Nights. So that's actually a pretty good place to launch it off. Today, a pretty big property got announced for Halloween Horror Nights, and that is Netflix's original property, The Stranger Things. It's just there. However, I wanted to know what you guys thought about this, because this is arguably the biggest grab that they've had since,
I got you, Hunter.
2013?
I got you, fam. Can you hear that?
I can hear you.
I can honestly say I've never seen this show.
Do what?
I've never seen that show.
I've seen the first season.
Well, Travis, is that a poster of Barb behind you, Travis?
Yeah, Barb's my chick right there.
I know barbed wire.
So which property was bigger for Halloween Horror Nights? Was it The Walking Dead or was it American Horror Story?
Definitely Walking Dead.
Yeah, during its peak, The Walking Dead was the largest property that they had at that point.
The Walking Dead, it was like an unquestionable phenomenon. Like, it was like that in the comics world before it became a show, and like afterwards, it's pretty insane. Like, and it's not like people even like the show anymore, but they keep watching it. That's like how obsessed people are.
I stopped watching it after what's his name, Negan beat the shit out of Glenn with a bat. I was like, all right, yeah, I don't know if I need to watch this shit anymore.
I stopped watching.
I haven't even seen that far yet. I'm still catching up. No,
I stopped watching after they killed my favorite character.
Few seasons. It's just gonna keep being the same shit over and over and over. You can only do that so many times.
And that's the problem comic book fell into as well. I will say that with The Walking Dead, I personally stopped watching around season 3, but I think just kind of zombies will translate forever, which makes it a good idea for a Halloween Horror Nights maze. However, I do think in the case of Universal Orlando, you oversaturated your market with it. After running it, was it 5 years total?
Yeah.
You just did it way too many.
Might have even been, well, it was 2012, so it was 5 years.
Yeah, you just did it way too many times.
Wait, no. They didn't do it because they didn't do it last year, so.
Well, I want to say, the reason I asked is I'm curious, what do you guys think? Like, does this have the potential to be their biggest pull ever? Do you think it could be bigger than that? Because it feels like The Walking Dead's got undeniably a massive, even if it's smaller now than it was at its peak, like it's got a massive following.
You mean as far as getting people to the event, or are you just talking about like as a franchise in general? Their biggest?
I mean, I don't want to say it's just speculation on my part. I don't want to say that Stranger Things is more popular than The Walking Dead because I don't think that's true. The Walking Dead's been around quite a bit longer. But I feel like as far as marketability goes and popularity, just sort of like The Walking Dead was kind of a big boom at first, and it felt like the couple of years that it went on, it got bigger and bigger. But I feel like the intensity of the popularity of Stranger Things right now, I feel like this is sort of creating the biggest pop that Halloween Horror Nights has ever had.
Well, you also got to think about how much more like social media and on-demand shows and stuff have come. I mean, 2012, that was 6 years ago. So, think about social media and stuff. It's come a lot more way. So there's more people have access to it and, stuff like that. So that could also play a factor in it as well.
Go ahead.
Go on ahead, Adam.
Well, it's definitely not going to be bigger than The Walking Dead as far as like draw or popularity, but I think something like Stranger Things has the advantage of, if they can keep it there for like 4 years and they can just, Ready Player One the shit out of it and just like constantly throw fucking weird random 80s references into every house and have a lot more freedom to be uselessly creative than Walking Dead, which prison, like that's what they could do,
But is it going to turn into like? Do you think there's going to be enough iconic scenes in the movie to make a house for every year for 4 years if they did that?
I think there's enough. Now, I actually am in a weird scenario because I did not watch the original season, and I started watching season 2 when that aired.
What?
Yeah. So the reason for that is Angel started watching, well, when it originally aired, and she wanted to watch it around October. And considering we had the one TV at the time, guess what I ended up watching? Stranger Things Season 2.
Any of these kids are.
So, yeah,
I weren't introduced to any of them. Like, who's that guy?
Believe it or not, I have a weird history of doing this because my first Harry Potter book was Chamber of Secrets. Just throwing that out there. Things are weird in my life. But, Adam, I think you bring up an interesting point. I think it does have the potential to be larger than The Walking Dead just because I think Stranger Things has a much wider appeal between a much larger audience. And what I mean by that...
I got to make this a racial thing.
It's also got that nostalgia. People are hot on nostalgia right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, we keep bringing up Ready Player One. Look at that. That's a movie that's built on 80s and 90s references for the most part. Right. And people are getting back into, I don't know, John Hughes movies and The Goonies, and all those movies are coming back into style, which Stranger Things has that advantage. But I think the good thing that Stranger Things has going for it is I don't think it's going to be the mega house this year like American Horror Story was last year and the year before, purely because it is just season 1. I do think it's going to be a soundstage house, but I think
put it in ET. They already got half the work done.
There you go.
Your tweet earlier.
House, but
your tweet.
Are they just going to put a little blonde wig on top of what's his name, Vesuvius, whatever that big ET creature is?
Botanicus.
Vesuvius is the Lego movie.
Mount Vesuvius. What were you saying, Kenny? You said something about a tweet.
Oh, your tweet earlier today with the ET. It's a fantastic tweet.
Thought that was funny. Didn't get enough likes.
It's tough to say right now because this is obviously the first announcement of the year, but do you honestly think this isn't going to be the biggest house this year?
Oh, definitely. I think we're going to really enjoy visiting this house once or twice because it's going to have 400-minute waits every single night.
You mean biggest? I think you mean like size.
Yeah.
The largest.
Think this will be the mega house this year?
I don't think so. I feel like if it's still on track, which last I heard it still is, I think it has the potential to be the mega house because there's so much more they could do with that.
Like dancing.
I could see Stranger Things maybe even being like
dancing.
Being
you know what?
House.
That's why you're going to Halloween Horror Nights, right? You're gonna that dancing clown.
No, I'm gonna go to Halloween Horror Nights so I can eat some children.
Some children.
That's an interesting juxtaposition, though. You do have It, which was updated for this movie to take place in the 80s, and you do have Stranger Things, which takes place in the 80s. You could kind of build a through line through maybe all the houses.
Oh
if you
my
follow.
God! Halloween
it's just
Horror
one
Nights.
long house.
Halloween Horror Nights sponsored by VH1. I love the 80s.
Is VH1 still around anymore?
Probably.
In a limited capacity.
Oh.
They keep selling me a magic bullet at 2 a.m. I've been watching these commercials since I was 3. Come on.
Let's reference the old man here, Adam. Adam, you got to know this information.
I'm sorry. Wait, what's magic bullet? Are you buying vibrators?
You walked into that, buddy. I got to give him that one.
Freak at adamandeve.com for 50% off and 3 free adult DVDs of your choice.
Now who's making
hashtag sponsored.
Now who's making old references?
That's really why GGH is back tonight. We got a sponsor.
That's right. That's the only way we're coming back.
Oh, I would sell the fuck out of vibrators. I mean, I don't use any, but I'd absolutely, for the right amount of money, I could be convinced.
Adam only accepts sponsorship from products he supports.
These vibrators will send you upside down. Hi, I'm Adam, and I've never put these inside my body, but damn, do they give a good back massage.
Well, not to toot my own horn, but there's a woman that I've been having sex with, and I
This is a lie.
No.
This is a false story.
I love how everybody laughed when you said that.
The way you said it.
It's not often that I say it out loud. No, but I tried to I don't know if this would work, but there's a local chain of porn stores, and I was like, maybe we could convince them to sponsor us on Metal Hand of God in exchange for product reviews of vibrators and stuff. So I was like, hey, would you be up for it? And she was like, free vibrators? Sure. She listens. She'll enjoy this.
Hey, I mean, look, no one's going to turn down. Look, if you offered me a machine that would make me pancakes, I'm not going to turn down this machine that would make me pancakes.
It's called a pancake maker.
You know what?
It exists.
You're my pancake maker, Travis.
I would actually far prefer the pancake maker because I can definitely get into that.
I'm into that. However, because of Stranger Things, not pancakes, we're talking about frozen Eggo waffles.
Mm-hmm. So back to what we were saying. So this house, like, I don't see how this house could not be, like, it feels like it's gonna have the push behind it as far as the budget goes, and it's easily, like, it's gotta be, regardless of what else gets announced, like, this has got to be the biggest property they're gonna land this year. Like, how, I don't understand how this could not be their number one focal point.
Well, just because it's their biggest property, I don't think that necessarily makes it the largest house as far as the most scenes in it. I think they're going to give the most scenes to the property that's actually can utilize those scenes the best.
Yeah, we still don't. We still don't know.
Shining felt like a huge maze, and that was a soundstage house, but that wasn't the mega house.
Yeah.
So, did they build the hotel for The Shining? Like, what was?
Yeah.
So The Shining, you actually walked in
hedge maze too.
Yeah, they have like the hedge maze that you walked into, and then you walked into the hotel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how was that?
Adam, I mean, you're gonna go this year, and you're gonna fall in love with the shit, and you're like, all right, I knew.
Okay, that's not guaranteed. The whole time. That's not guaranteed. I'm
no, I'm saying if you do.
Yeah, okay, because like Hunter's like, yeah, Adam's going. I'm like, nah, I don't. We haven't. That's not like maybe it's a possibility. People are trying to make me go, and I don't.
Could I give you like some liquid courage or something? How could we entice you to go?
Are you gonna give me drugs? That's horrible.
Drugs? No, it's a drink.
Liquid drugs.
You don't drink though, do you?
No. Actually, the last episode of when I say this show, I mean MHOG. I actually had a beer for. I thought it was the first time in 18 years, but I'd forgotten when I was in Tennessee. I was forced to drink a Budweiser by actually the same person who's trying to force me to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I drank like an inch of it, like maybe. I know that's not how you measure beer, but I'm not a beer person.
This time or last time?
In Tennessee, like I drank. How
much did you drink this time?
I had a sip.
Oh,
it was actually better than the Budweiser. It's a craft beer from some people called Gnarly Barley, and it was like a peanut butter chocolate porter.
What the?
Oh my god!
Well,
look, I'm a beer guy and I'm a peanut butter guy, but that sounds awful.
People that drink beer like it.
I don't.
Well, do you have
porters are like a niche thing, anyways. Like, I don't know if I even like those are the ones that are more like coffee style. Right?
It definitely has a hint of coffee to it. It wasn't disgusting, but it was just like I was promised this was more like sort of a sugary whatever, and this is definitely more beer than anything else. And it's just like I was like, no, I have more tolerance than that. When I do drink, it's whiskey.
Yeah,
Adam, you strike me as a martini kind of guy.
Cosmo, just sitting there gently.
Like a good apple martini with your pinky up.
Wait, hold on. Are you challenging me to a man-off?
I mean, I'll challenge you to a martini.
Are you stepping to Dick Brother number 1 to see who's more of a man?
I'm just imagining that scene from The Lion King with Adam and Kenny's faces juxtaposed over Scar and Mufasa.
Well, first of all, I'm definitely Scar.
Long live the king.
But if you want to do this, Kenny, like I'll be in fucking Florida in October. Like we can handle that shit.
So will I. We can make this
Kenny's
happen.
more of a Nala anyways.
First of all, I agree with Travis. Secondly, I don't want to have to embarrass you in front of your child. You know, a man.
Oh, he's tagging along for the martini competition.
You don't want to get martini slapped.
I'm just saying,
kid.
I'm just saying, a boy shouldn't have to see his father cry.
Local Louisiana man sedated in the.
No, I think what you guys should do is go hurricane for hurricane now.
Hell yeah.
I've never had one of those.
Pat O'Brien's.
Go to Pat O'Brien's.
What we're going to do, Travis, we're going to get to the top of the parking garage, right? And we are going to tie them down like dinosaurs in Jurassic Park: The Lost World and shower them in cans of Four Loko until they have to wander from the parking lot all the way up to Universal Studios, and the first one there is the champion.
No, I say they drink like 5 hurricanes, then we get those big blow up dinosaur suits, and they have to walk through City Walk, and whoever can get their car first.
What the fuck kind of weird shit are y'all into?
I don't know.
I'm just talking. I'm talking about like chopping the wood and boxing. Y'all are like, yeah, let's tie them up and cover them in shit.
This is gonna be the first Florida man story not involving an actual Florida man.
Exactly. A gentleman from Illinois and Louisiana this afternoon were spontaneously found in dinosaur inflatable costumes, half inflated. Anyways, what were we talking about? Stranger Things?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Topic as usual.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm lost.
Anyway,
I got lost in
I think
the lumberjack competition.
Yeah, you definitely would. I think Stranger Things. I think that's cool. I think it's not as big as The Walking Dead. It just isn't. But definitely, I think it has more appeal for doing something creative. I think there's just more to explore there, and like Travis said, like we're knee deep in like I love the 80s at this point, you know, for the better or the worse, and there's, you know, you can do a room that's dedicated to fucking John Hughes or whatever, and then you can do a room that's dedicated to the Ghostbusters, and you know, like you. So it definitely opens it up for creative people more than a simple zombie story, or you know.
To me, this house screams like it's just going to be like, I don't know, because they haven't said anything about being able to use the characters, and we know how that went with The Walking Dead, and never used any of the characters in The Walking Dead houses. So I still think even if they didn't use the characters, it could still be a pretty cool house. I think they have to. I think they have to make it a beautiful house and knock the scenes out and make them look like you're right in there, which they usually are good at doing. But I feel like this is going to be like under a super crazy microscope. Because, you know what I mean? There's such super fans for the show. And they're going to be, you know, if one little thing's off, they're probably going to, you know.
What if they...
We kind of know the characters they're going to utilize, right? We know they're going to use the sheriff character. We know they're going to use Winona Ryder's character. You'll probably see 11, but I'd be surprised if you saw her face on. I imagine we might see her from the back, like taping on one of the Demogorgons or something like that.
What if they don't use 11, but they just get a girl who's experiencing chemo to just walk around?
Jesus,
had to go there.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't. Trying to figure out how to transition from that, but
can you imagine being that poor Make-A-Wish child? They're like, "You're not going to Disney World. We're putting you in the haunted house."
So you're thinking that if they show the characters, they're probably not going to show their faces. Maybe they'll be like,
I think they'll show the adult characters, but the kid characters are way too.
It would be odd.
Yeah, the kid characters are too hard to pull off, and while the actors aren't going to look exactly like the adults did in the show, they can infinitely closer to that than they can the kids.
I feel like they could
to be honest, they've done really well with the casting in American Horror Story. I have no doubt that they're going to be able to find someone that looks like Winona Ryder and the other characters.
I feel like they could just use. the mom from The Shining, because they kind of look.
You could just use like scare actors, right?
Yeah, I feel like they look similar enough.
Look, I'll put this down right now. I will 100% go to Halloween Horror Nights if at the end of this house they have just a scene of Winona Ryder making the faces she made at the Oscars.
That's actually
the scariest part.
Adam, you don't know this, but up where the stage is, where the concerts are performed, they have 2 big screens that run all night, and they're actually just going to hire a Winona Ryder to make faces in the camera on those big screens.
Oh, man.
8 hours a night for the entirety of the event.
While you wait in the queue.
Exactly.
The only problem with that is I'd probably get arrested for taking my pants off.
Now, the other thing I was going to say is they talk about this being a house, but I mean, do you think that there's a possibility for it to be elsewhere in the park as well as like a scare zone, or maybe, you know how they did with The Walking Dead? I know that was like a whole event was based around The Walking Dead, but
there's a scare zone that is reminiscent of Altars of Horror this year. That's going to be another selfie zone, and the Demogorgon and maybe the sheriff character is going to be wandering around. Yeah. Maybe Winona Ryder's character, she'll just scream at you, "Where's my son?" all night long.
I don't know if they could pull a Demogorgon walking around. Aren't they pretty big?
That'll just
unless
be
it was just
Adam.
like
it'll just be Adam with his pants off.
Unless it just stayed in one spot.
He's the altar of horror.
They could do it as an animatronic.
Adam is the altar of horror.
I imagine he'll be like there'll be a lot of effects utilized in here. I definitely think they're going to utilize puppets. They're going to use traditional scare actors. But this house, more than anything, is going to be all about the atmosphere, right? So... Yeah. I tweeted out earlier that I understand the argument about Stranger Things not really being scary and not fitting Halloween Horror Nights, but the fact of the matter is the first year of American Horror Story wasn't very scary at all, in my opinion. It was more about putting you in that environment and having you interact with those characters that are really cool, right? And that's what people want to see for Stranger Things. The people that are going to the park for Stranger Things, it might be their first time going, and I think that's the big appeal of Stranger Things. Is going to bring in a whole new demographic to Halloween Horror Nights.
Like Walking Dead did.
Like American Horror Story did.
Right.
So the house doesn't necessarily have to be scary. You'll have other stuff like, I don't know, for every The Shining, which is very thematically focused, you'll have something like Scarecrow that is set out to just terrorize you. So you're going to have opportunities, but I'm expecting this to be a big house this year, and one they're definitely putting a huge chunk of the budget behind, and they know it's going to pay off.
So, big question for people who probably won't but might go. Will you have to have the express pass?
Asking for a friend.
Yes.
Yes, if you're only going to go one night, yes. Definitely.
Well, I mean, for like this house, like, is it going to be that packed that it might not even...
Dude, it's going to be
the worst.
It's going to be awful.
Probably.
The only way you're going to be able to see this house without an express pass and without waiting 3 hours is definitely going to be to do Stay and Scream.
Stay and Scream, yeah, if they even offer it for this house.
I think they will. Considering they had it for American Horror Story and they had it for The Shining, I don't see Stranger Things being more popular than that. They're going to want to get as many people through that line as possible.
Right. But if you remember last year, for like I think it was like the first half of the event, they had that Hello Kitty section, and then they took it out and moved it for some reason.
Yeah.
It was weird.
But they'll figure out the adjustments and stuff. I definitely think that Mardi Gras running every single night this year is helping them kind of figure out crowd flow and how things are going to operate. Mm-hmm. Now, to the extent of that, I don't know, but I think there was a very deliberate planning behind that. So here's the question that I've seen. I think Kaisman actually brought this up on Twitter. Do you guys think that we're not going to see annual passes this year, which would explain the buy one get one offer that they've put for the 1 day tickets?
I sure hope not, dude. That would be devastating.
That's what I asked you guys.
I can't afford to fucking pay for a ticket every time I want to go, and obviously I'm going to try to go more than 2 times.
Mm-hmm. As soon as I saw that thing, that announcement with the BOGO tickets, I posed that question to you guys right away. Like, I could totally see that going bye partially because it could be a money making move, but also you got to remember, like, they I don't know if they're actively trying to find ways to keep crowds down, but that would certainly be one way to do it. But that's kind of like the argument.
I don't know if that would necessarily.
That's the argument that like Disney's trying to price people out. It's kind of a bullshit argument. So I don't think that really works. Plus, I've seen other people discussing the same thing on Twitter, and I've straight up seen some people say, like, look, if they get rid of the frequent fear pass,
there'd be a huge backlash if they did that.
Well, it makes sense when people say, like, if you get rid of frequent fear, you're gonna lose my $1,200 in my hotel stay that I was gonna spend. So I think it's a bad move if they do get rid of frequent fear.
The thing that I know most people probably wouldn't like this, but my thing would be is have your frequent fear passes or whatnot, each tier or whatever, and then only sell a certain amount, and then have a date where you cut it off, where people can't buy them anymore. You know what I mean? That would probably help a little bit with the crowds. It's like first come, first serve. You know, you snooze, you lose with that type of stuff. You know, I don't know if that would work, but
isn't that what the what's that early on pass called? The
Rush of Fear.
Rush of Fear. Isn't that kind of the idea for that? Like,
not really.
Rush of Fear, wasn't that the theme of 2017?
What's that?
Sorry, lame political joke. Go on.
No, I didn't hear you. It cut out. That's why I said, what'd you say?
I said Rush of Fear. Wasn't that the theme of 2017?
Oh, an all-new Trump house coming.
Jesus.
That's the American Horror Story Cold House that we're getting.
Right?
Yeah, seriously.
But no, I just meant, like, that's just the event date that you can use that ticket from. I just meant, say you start selling tickets on whatever date that you start selling them, and then only be able to buy, say, a frequent fear or frequent fear plus, only have it open for a certain time, because you can buy those tickets throughout the whole Horror Nights event. I'm saying having only a small space of time, maybe like a month, that you can buy your tickets, and then if you don't get them by that time, then you just can't buy that pass anymore. You know what I mean? You can still buy individual tickets throughout the event. It's just the annual seasonal passes or whatever.
I think it's hard for me to believe that Universal would ever just say, yeah, you know what, we will leave all that money on the table. Let's just put an end date on the sale of these
shooting
things.
themselves in the foot if they did that.
That's why I was saying I don't think Universal is actively trying to keep the crowds down, because why would they? It's just more fucking money in their pocket.
Well,
they don't give a fuck if we're waiting 4 hours in lines.
It depends
There's other stuff
on
they could do.
It depends on a variety of factors, though. I mean, like, having higher crowds does mean more risk, more possibility of trouble, like, more unhappy customers. Like, and at the end of the day, the biggest problem with theme parks right now, or at least in the Orlando area, is there are no off seasons anymore. They're constantly busy, so they can keep jacking up prices. They can make little twists. They can, here and there that piss people off, because they know, like, A, we're still going to make our money this year. We're not going to, we're not going to be facing destitution. And B, people aren't really anywhere near the point where they're going to start boycotting one way or the other. So I think, if they have enough, like with something like Halloween Horror Nights, if they have enough big properties, and, Stranger Things is something people have been talking about since that show came out, this might be a year where they take some risks and go, like, hey, let's see how far we can push him here and there.
They need to do the 2-part thing is what they need to do. I don't know why they keep playing. Sorry, Hunter, you sending me your intros and shit.
No, that wasn't me.
Maybe you're living in a Halloween Horror Night.
However, I think one of the things is, Adam, you brought it up directly, is how far can you push arguably your most loyal fan base before it really breeds hostility and negativity towards the park. So, for instance, I was listening to Disney Dish with Lynn Testa and Jim Hill, and apparently a survey was going out in California that said that due to the crowds that they're expecting for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, everyone that's an annual pass holder, except for the highest tier of pass holders, is blocked out of Galaxy's Edge for a year. That's a section of the theme park you could not access. While you could access the rest of the park, you have to pay for the premium or the platinum or whatever it's considered over there to gain access, or you have to buy a one-day ticket to see Star Wars Land, basically.
Dude, Disneyland is playing with fire putting that
No, they're
fucking
not.
Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. Like, why they didn't go to a third gate for this and Marvel
They can't.
It blows my mind.
They don't have space for
they-
it.
Literally
yeah.
landlocked.
I mean, I understand that, but like, you don't think Disney could make some moves like Universal's doing in Orlando and purchase up some of the shit around Disneyland?
No,
No,
the
dude,
property
it's
is too
freaking
valuable.
Anaheim.
No, it.
You haven't been out there, have you?
No, not to Disneyland. No.
Yeah, it's a whole different monster, dude. It's nothing like Walt Disney World.
Well-
It's literally almost in the middle of a residential area, to be honest.
Yeah,
put
it's, it's more comparable to like SeaWorld or something here, except
Right.
even
Okay.
closer.
Makes sense.
Put it to you this way,
but to your
Kenny.
point, Hunter, though, to your point, like, dude, they are absolutely pushing their boundaries as far, like, they are risking this whole backlash against them with the public, because their massive annual pass base out there is now, not only did they just face that gigantic price increase a month or two ago, but
No more flex pay option.
yeah, and you're blocked out of our biggest attraction we've ever built. You're blocked out.
Well,
Which is the whole reason they're building the Marvel park. You know that, right? Or the Marvel section. Hey, you're blocked out of Galaxy's Edge, but guess what? We have a whole Marvel section you can go check out.
Well, that's the issue. You know, like one of Disney's biggest backlashes was a couple of weeks ago when they announced the charging for parking per day, like adding literally like $100 minimum to like anyone who's staying in, you know, on property for a
hotels.
week. Yeah. And they do things like that, and they keep increasing prices. And the thing is, they know right now they are 100% safe for the next few years, because there's no chance of the backlash being big enough to cripple them when Star Wars comes out.
No.
It's no matter what, people are going to show up for that in, what is it, a year? So they can, right now, they can do whatever they want, and there's not going to be enough of a backlash to really hurt their sales for the year.
Yeah, and the same thing goes for Halloween Horror Nights. I know that's what got us on that conversation in the first place, but it's true. Every year, people complain about crowds and how long the lines are, and every year they set attendance records. It doesn't fucking matter. They raise prices, more people show up, people complain, yet they just continue to throw their money at them and show up the next year. So, I don't know where the tipping point is, but.
Well, there may not be one, because here's the other thing to consider. For the people who have money, sometimes, like, part of their issue is going to be, like, some of the riffraff that's there. So, like, there's plenty of people who have money who would be like, yeah, I'll spend an extra $1,000 to, you know, have, like, elite, you know, to go stay in Spaceship Earth, Tomorrowland, you know, and have a cabana or whatever, you know, and just be away from little people and, you know, that kind of shit. And I'm not trying to, like, be elite, you know, like, talk about, like, us versus them kind of shit. I'm just saying, like, as long as there are people who can afford those vacations, like, I guarantee you there'll be people who would rather spend the extra money, you know, to have a nicer vacation. And, you know, and, like, if people like me who just, like, used to go for like 3 days for, you know, spend $300, those are the people that are going to go out.
Sure. When it comes to, just to kind of bring it all back around, because I think we're getting towards the end of this Halloween Horror Nights discussion, but every time we went, we probably went 15 or 16 nights last year, and every single time we went, Angel or I or the people we were with, usually all of us were either doing Stay and Scream or we were staying for dinner. And we spent, even in the case of just buying like a drink or something like that, you know, that's $15, $10, whatever. A meal's $15. And that's continuous income that they're receiving from the people that are going. Yes, they're taking up additional space, but I would wager most of the people that are going every single night of the event or 2-3 times a week are spending additional money every single time they're in the park. Do you think that difference is noticeable enough for Universal to be like, hey, you know, these people are important for the day-to-day operation of the event, and it's just as important that we keep our annual pass holders in the same way they do in just normal operation for the parks themselves.
I'll tell you exactly why that's not an issue, and it's because people that have frequent fear locals, or I'll extend it to people like myself from last year who are there visiting, and they're there multiple nights, and they bought a frequent fear because they know they're going to be there 3, 4, 5 nights. Those people aren't the ones that are making up these long lines. I mean, I understand if you're in line, you're a part of the line, you're part of the problem. But people like yourself, Hunter, who were there 15 nights of the week, you weren't spending all night in line. You were watching shows. You would maybe do you smartly would do a couple houses early, stay and scream, but then you're just kind of doing drinks and maybe checking out scare zones, whatnot. So you're there, you're participating in the event, but you, as the frequent fear pass holder, you're not in the lines in the heart of the night, right in the middle of the night. Every night, those gigantic lines, that's just the general public that's showing up. It's not frequent fear pass people, because if you're going the extra mile to buy a frequent fear pass, you probably know better and you're planning it out to where you're not in those lines.
You're planning to be there for Stay and Scream, or you're planning to take your break with Bill and Ted.
Or you know you're going to... Yeah. You know you're going to be there a couple other nights, and so you don't fuck with those lines in the middle of the night. So these lines aren't going to go away if you eliminate frequent fear pass. They're just not. That's not the problem here. So I don't think getting rid of that's the answer.
It's a point of discussion, and I don't think that's going to have any sort of advantage over the crowd, because I imagine most of your guests to Halloween Horror Nights are people that are visiting from all over the state of Florida, Georgia, wherever, and they are not there multiple nights. We have friends that we all know personally that come from the United Kingdom to be there for a week during the event. People like myself and Travis that are there 15, 20 nights of the event are a much smaller base, I would say. Yes, you have a lot of that going out to the bloggers and the vloggers and the podcasters and that sort of thing, but that's overall, 1% of the total events turnout?
Yeah, they definitely obviously sell a lot more at the gate or, pre-sale, but they're not, they're 1 or 2 day. They're going to be going there 1 or 2 nights, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I have a question.
Sure.
Do y'all think there'll be a house based around Last Jedi? Because that was a horror.
Hey, man, if there was, the line would be long enough you could finish your apple martini before you got to the house. Dude, I can't wait to have a martini drinking contest with you. I can't wait.
Where are we going to go to, like TGI Fridays or something?
Yeah, he ain't going to be doing that at the park, 'cause that's just going to get expensive fast.
I'm going to have to save up some money. I want to get some Quaaludes so I can really fuck up Kenny.
I'll do hurricanes. Those hurricanes are fun. They put people in bushes. I've seen it.
We can go to dinner if you guys turn up this time.
What? Oh, wait. I mean, are we sure, or are y'all going to go eat hot dogs?
Hot dogs.
For those of you just tuning in, or those of you who've never listened to Grim Grinning Hosts, we had a meetup. Actually, just past a year ago.
Yeah, that picture just popped up. Facebook memories.
It was mid March 2017, and we were all supposed to go to dinner, and
saw the All American Rejects,
and half of the podcast was like, yeah, we're eating Hot Dog Hall of Fame right now. So, which is a shit hot dog place. It's absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I just wanted to throw this out there, since I have a platform for all my theme park ramblings for a few minutes longer. I rode Jimmy Fallon again for the second time ever, gentlemen.
Oh, no.
How'd he take it?
It fucking sucks, dude. I went in there.
So why'd you ride it again if you knew it
because sucked? I was with my roommate and with Angel, and Angel had never done it, and I was like, you know what? It's been a little bit.
Wait, hold on. No.
Go on,
Did you just call her your roommate? What the fuck?
No. With
So
my roommate.
and
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know y'all had an additional person in that. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Besides the 2 cats, and the Kylo Ren, that's about 3/4 scale. Anyways,
So 3 pussies then.
So it had been about a year since I wrote Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I went in too cynical. Maybe I went in and I was just like, oh, I want to hate this, so I'm going to hate it.
you were pissed off because you could never get in before.
Yeah, I went in with no expectations this time. Just like, okay, let's ride this ride. And the ride is the most like egocentric hunk of junk that has ever been put into a theme park, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree
Very
with that.
polite of you.
I agree with that.
Very
Definitely.
polite.
I like that ride, but
Isn't his show in general like that?
I don't know. I see some clips come through that I think are funny. Is he's the one that interviews like random people on the street and ask them like questions?
I don't know. I don't really watch the show either, but I felt like his show has always been like that. Just a bunch of skits with him in them.
well, yeah, but it's a little different when you go to a theme park and it's definitely the most narcissistic attraction I've ever seen.
What do you expect? It's called Race to New York with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah,
it kind of says it right there in the name.
Yeah, I understand, but just because it's
him.
called Muppet Vision 3D doesn't mean Kermit's like in every single scene.
Actually, that's not the issue. It would be more like if Kermit played all the other Muppets in the fucking Muppet Vision 3D. That's the issue.
That would be funny.
And I think the biggest problem with that ride comes down to all the little Jimmy Fallon in jokes. It's like, okay, I don't give a shit about whatever this little girl that says ooh is. I don't know what that is. I don't know who the fuck hashtag the panda is. I know that's supposed to be fun, but not that big a percentage of the people who are at this theme park watch your fucking show. So,
So what do you think Craig's smoking then? Because he said that's one of his favorite rides.
Craig's favorite, everything that Craig does is his favorite. I don't know if Craig... Brian Craig Lucas loves everything. There should that needs to be the next DisAfterDark network like show.
Wait, his real name's Brian?
It's BCL 1952 or something. I don't know. I think his first name's Brian. I could be wrong.
Bradrick, Brendan. I'm
just going with Brian Craig Lucas.
Brian Craig Lucas sounds like your high school friend that's out selling weed behind the Target parking lot now.
Brian Cranston at first.
Maybe that's what it is. He's selling meth, which wouldn't surprise me.
If Craig Lucas pulls off his mask and he's the fucking dude from Breaking Bad, yeah, like that's the greatest thing I've ever heard of.
I'm Craig, and I'm here to sell you some meth. What were you saying, Travis?
No, I was saying, what were you getting at with this? You just wanted to say that Jimmy Fallon sucked? Or were you
I just wanted to say, for anyone that was hoping for an update, which no one was. No one to this.
We are getting an update. We're getting Fast and Furious.
Oh my God, that's going to suck shit, too.
Fast and the Furious, Universal. Hey, Kenny, just to put this in perspective, we know more. I'm so upset. I'm like stuttering now, stammering. We know more about Halloween Horror Nights this year than Fast and Furious, which is supposed to open in the next 2 months, supposedly.
2 months.
It's going to be amazing.
Should be 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah. What's going? Is that for real? Like
there must be something. They must be running into the same like Kong problems, because I've heard that they've been cycling those vehicles in there for some time now.
Hey, you guys remember Fast and the Furious? You go zoom in the little fast vehicles. What if you didn't do that? What if you were a big ass bus?
That's what big ass tram.
You like trams, you like big ass buses, you like Vin Diesel in high definition with no 3D boards. I got a ride for you.
Here's the problem. Y'all don't appreciate the beauty of the Fast and Furious franchise. And in the Fast and Furious, any ride can be added with NOS and fucking be fast. Okay, so hold on to your nutsack.
They're gonna sell those shitty NOS energy drinks. It's definitely gonna have to do that, right?
Hold on. I think you guys are all thinking I'm actually joking here. I'm fucking pumped for this ride.
Why?
Like
I
fucking
love
Fast and Furious.
I love Fast and Furious. Nobody loves Fast and Furious more than me. But, we'll see as to whether or not this is a good ride. Look, I'm down for it. I am the Vin Diesel of New Orleans. I don't have friends. I got family.
So I was going to ask, what the Twitter fuck does that mean?
How is that not your Twitter bio? That's amazing.
What? I'm the Vin Diesel.
The Vin Diesel of...
There's a very old quote from this show where an English friend of mine apparently referred to me as the Dr. Doom of New Orleans, and I'm thinking about getting that made into a T-shirt.
Amazing. Simply amazing. Look, I'm pretty sure the ride's gonna suck, but I'm really banking on that it's gonna be so bad that it's a good time.
What if
Much
they
like the movies. So bad that it's good?
What if they Jimmy?
Like the movies?
What if
there's not such a thing as a theme park attraction?
What if they Jimmy Falloned it? What if they just like superimpose The Rock's face on top of every character but him?
Isn't that every Rock production currently?
I wish.
Can you imagine turning the corner and you hear Vin Diesel's voice and you're like, oh hell yeah, and then it's Kevin Hart.
Did you guys see Jumanji?
Yes,
we did.
Fun movie.
It was pretty fun. Yeah, I liked it.
Good times. Oh, also, while we're talking movies, I just saw Coco. Why is this not being put into the Mexico Pavilion like right now?
Well, that's the rumor.
I heard that.
Give
Yeah,
it time.
is.
Do what?
What'd you say, Adam?
I heard that it was as well.
Yeah, it's supposed to be taking over the Grand Fiesta tour, but I don't know. Disney's really weird about never. This was a discussion topic on one of the shows, if you guys remember. But Disney is awful about capitalizing on anything that's successful of theirs, as far as their animated pictures, Pixar or Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you spoke of the Disney Dish podcast earlier, so I'll throw back to something I heard on there as well, where they were talking about Black Panther and the success it's seeing, and now I guess they're trying to fast track a ride before the sequel in a couple of years.
In Hollywood, maybe. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen in Walt Disney World.
Epcot.
There's no chance.
Because but Hunter, did you listen to that? Did you listen to that episode, Hunter?
Yeah, supposedly it's going to be like a Star Tours style attraction.
Well, what's
there's like over Wakanda
building they were talking about putting it in that's not being used.
How does that even fit? The Odyssey or not the Odyssey?
I think it was the Body Wars building.
It's the
where they were talking about theming
Wonders
it
of Life Pavilion.
Yeah, Wonders of Life Pavilion, like theming it to the science of Wakanda with Shuri and everything like that.
Yeah,
and then make it over Wakanda, utilizing
it was essentially going to
Wakanda.
Get the Avatar treatment where it's going to be themed to Wakanda with no characters in it.
Look,
like Flight of Passage, but
I don't think so. I don't think they can use Black Panther in any capacity.
No, they can't. There's I mean, unless there's some weird twist, there's no chance that they have access to Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther is too intrinsically tied to the Fantastic Four universe.
It's not Fantastic Four. It's Avengers.
Look, Fantastic Four, Black Panther, they got a history. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like 6 issues in like the 2000s. He's an Avengers character. There's if they had any access to like, I don't know. I mean, nobody's seen this contract, but somebody, I think it was Nick Branch, showed me some website said that they had access to the contract, but they were making all kinds of weird claims. I'm trying to think of what character they said Disney owns the right to. I don't know, but they definitely don't. Like this, but Black Panther is an Avengers character. If they own the Avengers, like as far as if Universal owns the Avengers, as far as their contract, Disney can't use them.
No, that's literally what they were talking about. Like just because they can't use him himself doesn't mean they weren't thinking about trying to use Wakanda. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's a horrible idea.
That's not going to happen. You can't separate. You can't say, well, okay, well, Wakanda doesn't count because, that's asking for a lawsuit. Disney wouldn't risk that.
I feel like it comes in a package. It's like a package deal. You can't just take one character out and be able to use it.
This all just this came up because Hunter mentioned Disney being bad about capitalizing on current successful movie franchises, and this is an instance where they're trying to make a move, or at least allegedly they're trying to make a move on something, but it looks like they're gonna fuck it up if they do.
The issue, I think, with Disney, and this has been discussed endlessly by different podcasts, is that Disney has too many cooks in the kitchen. Universal can get shit out the gate quickly because they have a much simpler process for making and approving things. Whereas Disney, like, we didn't get a single Guardians attraction until right before the second movie. And by then, a lot of the hype around it had already passed, you know, and we're not even yet ready for the Epcot one that they're going to put out. So, you know, I mean, I'm assuming that one will be out closer to when like the third volume comes out. So, you know, I mean, it comes down to, even if Disney wants to put out something, it just takes forever for people to approve shit and you know, much less get it made.
Aren't they saying like 2020 or 2021 for that Guardians ride?
I think it's 2020.
Yeah,
I'm
by
hyped
then
for that, dude. That's gonna be sick.
That'll be about the time that Guardians Volume 3 comes out.
Yeah, I think that's
they might
slated for
be
2021.
They're probably timing it so it opens around the same time. It would make sense.
It's a pretty cool little roller coaster system that's going out for Guardians of the Galaxy, though. Did you guys see like what they're speculating the ride vehicles are actually going to be like?
Like kind of like
that.
Green Gods, right?
Much smaller and compact, like 4-person carts.
But it's going to be like where you can turn and stuff, right? To look at scenes and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and the actual cart of it is like designed to hide the ride track. So it's going to be like, I don't know. To me, it sounds like they're almost aiming for Space Mountain 2.0 with this.
So you think it's going to be all pretty much in the dark? Then?
It's going to be dark with lit show scenes. Like, I really think Disney's going to go all out for it. I'm really excited to see what they do
you
with
got
it.
the space for it. That's a huge building.
After years of not building like e-ticket attractions, like what was their last major e-ticket besides Flight of Passage? Expedition Everest?
Probably Soarin'?
I think Expedition Everest was after Soarin'.
Yep.
Unless you're counting the newer
Sure
one.
about that?
Unless you're counting the newer one.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is considered a D-ticket attraction. Plus, even if so, I know Soarin's before Expedition Everest just because Soarin' was just a carryover from California anyways.
Well,
So what you're saying that Soarin's older?
Soarin' is older. Soarin' opened in 2005. Expedition Everest opened in 2006.
It's only 1 year. So, yeah. I mean, you talking about one built from the ground up?
Yep.
Oh, so I was going to say obviously Frozen, but that's not built from the ground up.
I would consider Frozen a D-ticket attraction.
Really?
Yeah.
With the kind of weights that it gets?
Well, weights aren't the main thing that decides that sort of thing. You know what? Unfortunately, I've ridden Frozen a couple times, and I like that attraction less every single time I ride it.
Yeah, I don't really get
It
the
feels
hype around
really
it.
cheap.
Yeah,
for the most part.
It's an old ass rickety system.
A rickety ass building from like some park you would find elsewhere. And then there's so much unthemed wall and scaffolding and just rails, and it's just a nasty looking attraction, unfortunately. And you can definitely tell they rushed.
Yeah, for sure. Where were you going with that? With the whole?
Well, what I'm saying is I'm excited for Walt Disney World because they are building e-ticket attractions. We have Tron, which is considered an e-ticket. We have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is considered an e-ticket. You have the Star Wars attractions, which are both considered e-tickets. Like
all Star Wars Land, Toy Story.
What's the rumor that's still kind of circulating around for Animal Kingdom, even though I don't buy it, is still Indy.
Indy.
Where would they put that? And why would you put that in the same? Oh, you're talking about ripping out Dinosaur and putting Indy in there?
I'm all for
like, were you here on this episode?
Probably.
It was back in September. That was when Adam rejoined us, and we were talking about how they want to retheme it to Brazil. Come to Brazil. Come to Brazil.
At Animal Kingdom?
At Animal Kingdom. Well, yes, Brazil would work at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, but it's not country. Well, I guess it is countries. Yeah, but where would they put that? You're talking about that whole Dino
Land.
But I'm going to let that one slide.
What? What'd you say?
I am.
Go ahead.
I am
magical.
All for this. First of all, hot Brazilian women everywhere in Animal Kingdom. Up the park, like lower the hours to like 10 p.m. at night when shit gets really fucked up and crazy and everyone's been drinking. Then hook up the indie. Like, it's been too long. They can update it. Oh my God, I'll never leave.
Come to Brazil.
There's already a bunch of fucking Brazilians there. What are you talking about? Don't need to put Brazil there. It's already pretty much there.
Fucking God damn it, Travis. Like, why are you trying to fuck with my buzz here? I'm imagining the wonderful world of Brazilian booty and Indiana Jones, and you're just gonna like, oh, there's already Brazilians there. I'm not talking about drunk dudes, okay? I'm talking about beautiful, busty, big booty Brazilian women. That's what I'm talking about.
They're all over the place. You don't go to Disney enough.
I think Adam's actually drunk on peanut butter beer right now.
Right? I was gonna say, did you drink the rest of that beer? It's been sitting in the fridge.
Well,
it's not even like good peanut butter beer. It's just he opened up a can of Jif.
Why don't you take a quick trip down to New Orleans, okay? And I'll introduce you to this brewery. You have a place to stay. I got a sofa.
It's called the Martini House.
I'm just imagining Adam's drink of this beer is like, you know, when you leave peanut butter in the cupboard for too long and you get that little puddle of juice on top?
No, that sounds gross.
I wonder what that would taste like.
It's just peanut. It's just Peter Pan and Budweiser is all it is.
Why don't you be a man and come down here and like fucking find out for yourself?
That's the worst threat I've ever heard in my life.
I'm just saying, like, why don't you man up? Why don't you just fucking, keep it real? Come on.
So, one last topic.
No, hold up. No. Challenge has been issued. The gauntlet is on the floor. He has been slapped in the face with my glove. Yeah. He's got to smell the glove now.
I accept your challenge. I'll come drink your shitty peanut butter beer.
All right.
I'll get right on it.
Let's do this.
I'm imagining you two like battling on the top of the waterfall, like in Black Panther. Drink the shitty beer.
Don't call their beer shitty.
No spoilers, bro. I haven't seen that movie.
I'm trying to get a show there. By the way, thanks for repeatedly calling their beer shitty. Excuse me, Wakanda? Gnarly Barley.
Trying to get a show in Wakanda.
Excuse me, Gnarly Barley. I just want to let you know that most of the members of the MHOG podcast are fans of what you do.
Not us.
Go listen to the last episode where
I'm sure the brewery will love when you hang your dildo sponsor banners up behind the stage.
It's vibrators, dude.
From what I understand,
with a maximum capacity vibrator, some peanut butter beer, and boy, do I have a show for you.
So anyway,
go on, Hunter.
Barley, just so you guys know, no, we're not members of Metal Hand of God, but we're cool with you guys. We have nothing against you. We actually quite like you. Anyways, so what's going on is, did everybody here see Ready Player One?
Yes.
No.
So Kenny did not. So Kenny, we're not going to dive into spoilers because I'm sure you want to go see it at some point.
It's not really a movie you can spoil, to be honest with you. It's
It's not that deep of a movie. It's a visual spectacle that has nothing to it.
Put it to you this way: Have you
talk about whatever you want to talk
Have
about.
you ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate, or not? Which one? Yeah, Willy Wonka. Have you ever seen that one?
Ever? What? Yes, of course I have.
Okay, then you've seen Ready Player One.
Imagine that for 95 minutes.
Wait, which scene?
I'm just fucking with you. Go on, Adam.
If you've seen Willy Wonka, you've seen Ready Player One.
Yeah. Okay.
Except with way more video game stuff.
Yeah.
So, guys, watching Ready Player One, the first challenge scene, the race through the city, you know, you got a DeLorean, you got the T-Rex, you got King Kong,
Jimmy Fallon.
you got the bike from Akira, exactly. Race through Jimmy Fallon's Ready Player One, coming to a Universal Studios near you.
Okay, wait, hold on, real quick. Was that supposed to be the bike from Akira? Because I thought so, but I was like, it's a little too small. It doesn't actually look like Takeda's bike
from Akira.
Okay, it does, because it sort of looks like it, but not really. But go on, so on.
Some of them are modified. You'll notice like the DeLorean has the kit lights.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, what the fuck?
No, I didn't notice that.
It's like a mashup.
There's all sorts of funny stuff in there. However, watching that first scene with the race and, you know, going upside down and the slow motion and everything like that, I was thinking, wow, this would make a heck of a theme park attraction, specifically that section, right? Utilizing the Spider-Man / Transformers style system, is Ready Player One a property that you think could be adapted into a theme park setting pretty readily? And is that something you would be interested in seeing?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Could
know
you
if they would
imagine
have
like a
problems
test track
blocking.
style system where you design your vehicle?
You don't think that they would run into issues with so many different movies and stuff being there with IP, you know?
I think
I
they
guess
would-
as long,
They would probably
as long as they
do
were in the movie, they would be fine for a ride. I would assume that would
well.
probably all be included, right?
If you notice, most, not all, but most of the things that they brought in were probably stuff that Universal, or not Universal, what is it, Warner Brothers already, like Batman was in it. Like, I'm actually surprised they didn't have like more DC characters, but
Yeah.
I think they
Harley
would.
Quinn.
I think they would just. Oh yeah, you're right. The Joker and the Harley Quinn were in it.
And they never specifically name anything, right? Like they don't
Well,
ever say
they
Back
yeah
to the Future in the. I mean, it does the Back to the Future chime and the DeLorean's in it, but
they
never
do
specifically says.
they do name some of them.
Really?
Yeah, like the few things that you can give away is some of the surprise characters in the big battle scene that actually have an effect on the movie. But
Right.
but some of them they name directly. They'd probably just use, like I said, properties that they already had. But the problem is, like, if it was Universal, it would have to be CGI or not CGI, but you know, green screen, all that kind of
3D.
stuff. 3D, there you go. And people would complain about that. Disney, well, they wouldn't have access to it because it's a Warner Brothers property.
Right.
And the
But they
real
do.
appeal of Ready Player One is seeing all these properties from everything you recognize utilized in one film. And a lot of that comes from, you know, just Spielberg having worked with all these companies. There is Disney stuff in the movie, but it's very more subliminal than, say, the Universal / Warner Brothers stuff they were able to get.
Do you guys think that felt like a Spielberg movie?
No,
Because I didn't really think it did.
no, and in fact, the Red Letter Media guys made a good point. He probably only directed like 2/3 of that movie, like the live action stuff.
Like the lie, yeah.
He might have worked with the actors for like, but I mean that was all voice acting for most of it. But
Right.
but yeah, it doesn't feel like it's actually part of the reason it doesn't feel like a Spielberg film is because it's not that competent a narrative. I think it's as competent as it could be, considering I my subtitle for this movie is, "Hey, remember that? Now forget it." Like it's like every like quarter of a second, it's like, oh, here's a reference to something, and now you've forgotten it because they're just shoving so much shit on the screen. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like
Right.
is it like, okay, y'all are big Back to the Future fans, right?
Travis more so than me, but I'm familiar.
Okay, well. So, Travis, so you got a little thrill out of see the DeLorean, right?
Yeah, of course.
But does the
That was-
DeLorean play any role in it other than it just because it doesn't fly? Like he actually has the doors open like it's the vehicle from Mask, which y'all are too young to remember. but like it doesn't fly or anything like that. It doesn't travel back in time. There is like a time travel element in it that mentions Robert Zemeckis, but it doesn't relate to the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Like it's just there. And it's like everything in the movie that's a reference to something is so useless. And and all it comes down to is like,
Hey,
and
I know that thing.
yeah, well, I think what it really comes down to is the guy who wrote the book just loved the 80s and 90s and wanted to relive his childhood, which is cool. But when you're telling a movie that, or telling a story that's supposed to be set 20 years from now, like, wouldn't they be like, even like, think about it, like big people like Nicki Minaj or whatever, whoever's popular right now, I don't fucking know. Those people would be considered like oldies music by the time this happens, but yet somehow people really want to listen to like Jump and, you know, Huey Lewis and the News or whatever. Like
the argument can be made that the movie is obviously very set, like in its style and tone, but you could say, hey, why are people still listening to the Beatles? I mean, that was 60 years ago at that point.
Yeah, but people aren't just listening to the Beatles, and that people listen to modern music too and have modern culture. I mean, look, it's a fun movie, but I don't know. Like, I think the best you're gonna get, like when you're going back to what you were talking about, is I think the Mario Kart ride has the potential to have the same kinetic, like frenzied energy if they really go for it, that this does. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, that opening sequence, while awesome, is mostly just like a really fucked up like death race kind of. You know. And honestly, you know, the funny thing was, like, what it really reminded me of is like, not to give away like how he won, but when you saw Parzival winning, that whole sequence reminded me of the new updated what is that attraction Epcot?
Test Track.
Test Track. Like I was like, oh look, it's Test Track.
Yeah, it's. You know, I think you're onto something about how the appeal of the movie is just kind of reliving things that people are nostalgic for. But I think that translates to a theme park attraction, because people go there to relive experiences that remind them of things that they like. And unfortunately, that's the newer trend towards theme parks. That's not how it's always been. But I guarantee,
is there really anything bigger than nostalgia? I mean,
yeah, that's they're building a whole land based on Toy Story, which is still an exceedingly relevant property. But, you know, the first movie was 20 plus years ago at this point, almost 25 years.
Yep.
So we're not going to see an attraction in Universal Orlando or Walt Disney World not based on a property, at least a major one in the vein of Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean, for a really long time, if we ever see it again.
Well,
but to capitalize on people's nostalgia, I think an attraction based on a property like Ready Player One would bring in a crowd, especially if you did offer some sort of customizable element to it.
What if instead parks like Disney and Universal, instead of like doing something like Ready Player One, just did their own version of it, where there's like some sort of greatest hits, you know, man, are y'all too young for those the wacky races, the Hanna-Barbera wacky races?
Nope. I love wacky races.
Okay. Like,
Hunter has no clue what you're talking about.
wait, do you not?
And Muttley and come on.
Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I mean, that is kind of before all your times, but I know they replay stuff like that. So, but like that sort of thing. Like, why couldn't there just be some sort of race where, you know, Mickey Mouse is next to fucking Darkwing Duck, or, you know, or...
Well, that was the appeal of Disney Infinity, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, and the same thing with Universal. Universal has all these disparate properties. Like, why can't there be some sort of, like, greatest hits where, like, you do get to see, you know, King Kong and Jaws and, you know, the fucking DeLorean.
Or even if we did something like that, I know a lot of people hate it, and Universal hasn't really messed with it, but what about taking a shitty roller coaster like Rip Ride Rockit and just throwing VR on it?
Easy now.
Sequences from Ready Player One. I felt like that would be easy enough, and they would still, you know, get the job done. Because think about it, that's what the whole fucking thing is. It's just VR. So
why you gotta be hating on my roller coaster?
Because it sucks.
God damn it!
I can't look. I'm not gonna say it sucks, Kenny, because I haven't ridden it. I don't want to, but you know, it is
Guitar Hero ride.
Not good.
I'm just gonna point out. That's the one ride you'd never get me on. I have actually
enough martinis in you. You'll be getting on that ride.
No chance. You have more chance of me getting on you than you have of me getting on Rip Ride Rocket. Because I've seen that thing when it got stuck and those people were in the horizontal position and they had to send up like cranes to get them down. Ain't happening. I would be crying like a bitch.
When you put it that way, it sounds kind of sexy.
Well, you ever seen the back of like if you go to Horror Nights, the lines they actually have like a permanent crane. I don't know if you've ever seen that. They got like a permanent crane. I don't know if it's for working on it, but they actually have a crane back there that doesn't. It's bolted to the ground.
Yep.
So
it's because that attraction is constantly falling apart.
Yeah.
What a shitty ride.
That's how Lee Malaby's planning to go out, frankly.
Yeah.
You want to really
Kenny. So, tell me about this thing real quick. Tell me about this thing I just came across on YouTube about this euthanasia roller coaster. Have you heard of this thing?
What?
There's this really rich guy that's in Europe somewhere, and he wants to die. And basically, he designed this roller coaster. Well, he's actively dying, and like he didn't want to be like not sedated. What do they call it? Euthanized or anything like that. Yeah. So he designed this roller coaster that had so many G-forces back to back, it would kill you.
I think I did hear about this. That crazy.
Why don't you just like have the track just shoot you off?
Because this isn't Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Just go
that's not how this works.
You could just go to Alton Towers and ride the Smiler. You don't like shoot them into the opposite park to bring down their rating. I've ever done that.
He could recreate the roller coaster from classic 1980s Dan Aykroyd film Nothing But Trouble. If you haven't seen Nothing But Trouble, go watch it. You're welcome.
What movie was that they filmed? Didn't they film? It was like the Hulk or something. What movie? It was a horror movie, I think, right? And they had it to where it looked like the thing would shoot off the track, but it was just like a dummy.
Dude, are you talking Sharknado 3?
No.
My ride was in that movie.
House on Haunted Hill or one of those weird movies. Look it up. There's actually I think Lee talked about it on UUOP before. It's a scene that they actually shot because there's like Doctor Doom in it, but the rides look different. Like they did like an overlay.
Wait. Are you talking about that Bring It On movie?
Yeah. No, it was like a horror movie. It's like
I'd say Bring It On, In It to Win It was a horror film.
It was a horror film.
Well, there's a scene where this guy, while you're in line, you can see it launch, but it's dummies and stuff. So it's supposed to like scare you, but it was actually shot at Universal. I can't remember what freaking. Let me see if I can find it. Carry on talking.
You all got to watch Sharknado 3 when Banks Lee makes an appearance in the. Well, so they were riding Rip Ride Rocket, and some sharks ended up on the loading station, and apparently ended up on the roller coaster. And then when it went through the inverting loop, the shark. Was it the shark or the train of the coaster came off the track and went through the roof of Twister? And Banks Lee was in the audience for Twister when the shark landed on the set. It was fantastic. I took a screenshot and tweeted it out and everything, and it was a great moment. I was actually there in the park when they were filming Sharknado 3. I bumped into Tara Reid, actually. Fun story.
I'm sure it was fun
story.
She looks awful in real life. Like,
God damn! I was about to ask you how the tits were looking, but Jesus Christ!
If you're listening, Tara, I'm sorry, but the makeup on the
little known fact: Tara Reid is a huge Metal Hand of God fan. She doesn't miss an episode.
Oh, no.
I'm going to send this to you in the chat. This is the YouTube video.
Just so you know, Tara, I think the girls are looking perfect. So,
how old is she now? Like 50?
How dare you? She's 43.
Damn.
Yeah, she's up there around Adam's age. I know they're hanging up
and looking just as good.
Adam, real quick, I looked up this movie you were talking about. Nothing But Trouble has a song in it featuring Digital Underground.
It does.
Which has Tupac Shakur and Dan Aykroyd on the same song. What the fuck is this movie?
You watch it, and you're welcome.
2-pack shaker.
That's actually, that movie has given me nightmares my entire life. It
didn't make any fucking money.
It is one of the grossest films I've ever seen. And this movie was greenlit because of Ghostbusters.
This movie was like 10 years after Ghostbusters.
Or maybe it was Ghostbusters too. I don't know. It was just that Dan Aykroyd was like this hit maker who had made, Ghostbusters and shit and Blues Brothers. And they were like, go ahead, Dan Aykroyd, make whatever movie you want. And he made Nothing But Trouble, starring himself, John Candy, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore, Taylor fucking... Taylor Negron, yeah. I was going for Taylor Kitsch for a second. I was like, no, he would have been a fucking sperm in his daddy's balls at that point.
So I'm watching this clip. That is absolutely the Hulk and Dr. Doom.
Mm-hmm. I know it is.
That's fantastic. What movie is this?
House on Haunted Hill.
Oh.
There's a longer scene though that shows the guy like setting it back up. But it's like dummies. Did you see how close the cars were to each other? They're like 20 feet apart on the track.
I'm gonna go find this movie. This movie has to be on YouTube right now.
Okay, but first watch Nothing But Trouble. You're welcome.
No, you just said it was gross and it haunted you in your entire life. Why would we want to do this?
I was 8 when I saw it the first time. It might be different for you. No, you got to watch the movie.
Hey,
share my pain.
Speaking of random movies,
no one's watching this movie.
Have you guys ever seen The Never-Ending Story?
Yes. Did you know that there is a River Rapids ride of The Never-Ending Story at WB Movie World in Germany?
That's amazing.
Yeah, just so you know.
Do y'all happen
Here's my problem. I've not seen this movie, and I literally just listened to a podcast about this movie and found out all these crazy things, like the band Atreyu is named after the goddamn main character. I need to find this movie.
What movie?
First of all, Never-Ending Story. Yeah, I guess I can't give you shit because I've never seen Princess Bride, but did the rest of y'all remember like a couple years ago? People got flipped out because they saw that picture of Steven Spielberg in front of the dead Triceratops. And people got really pissed off because they thought like he was a big game hunter who shot a Triceratops.
Oh, yeah.
My friend,
like they still exist.
Yeah, my friend it was clearly it was from Jurassic Park. My friend Ted Wildly photoshopped the Triceratops out and photoshopped Falcor in.
And I remember posting this or seeing this.
It's one of my favorite like Photoshop pictures of all time.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's time for us to wrap on up.
But not before we play 500 Miles one last time. By the way, my one regret is that the show didn't go long enough for us to have Brian Craig Lucas and Lee Johnson Malaby record. Actually, no, wait. I'm sorry. I fucked up that joke. Bruce Lee Malaby, what was supposed to be his original name. That's a true story.
That is.
Brian Craig Johnson and Bruce Lee Malaby record All Star by Smash Mouth.
Oh. Well, I mean,
that's how this show should have ended.
I mean, that would be a big enough event, I feel, to bring back another episode, right? I mean,
At some point.
I mean, let's be honest. We'll probably be back like next week. We sit here and talk a big game.
Speaking of that, Hunter, did you see that SNL skit?
Why are you laughing while telling me? No.
You didn't see that Shrek skit?
No.
Oh my god, I'll send it to you, dude. It's funny as hell. So what do we do? Are we wrapping this thing up right now?
I think it's time to wrap it on up.
Well,
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close this episode of the Grim Grinning Hosts podcast.
I'm just looking at that picture you just sent of Steven Spielberg next to the dead E.T. He's just sitting there very casually. His feet in the water.
I feel like
He's in the water.
I feel like I have to send that to Amanda over at Universal After Dark now.
She might cry.
That's when they retheme E.T. to be the Stranger Things attraction. All right. Well, this was your taste of the now monthly segment that's going to be on the monthly on the Metal Hand of God podcast.
Dude, don't do that to these people. Don't. Like, you know what sucks? It's not that y'all decide at the end of the show. It's just that y'all are like, fuck it, we're not doing it anymore. Y'all didn't even tell all these poor people who loved y'all. Like, y'all didn't bother to say goodbye. You know, it's like when
That's what we're doing.
It's
asshole.
like
that's what we're trying to do right now.
That's because I stepped in and made it happen. But before that, y'all were like, you know, when your dad gets caught cheating on your mom and he leaves your family to go fuck a new hotter mom that, you know, and he doesn't bother to stop by and like take you riding your bicycle anymore. That's what y'all did.
Damn. He's had peanut butter beer. He's laying down the law.
This attraction. This attraction, the show, who knows what's going to happen. Maybe we'll be back next week. Maybe we'll be back never. Thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate all of y'all for coming out and listening to Grim Grinning Hosts the entire time it was on the air. And it means a lot to us. You know, we're just kind of four goofy guys. And for Grim Grinning Hosts to have received the reception that it did was really surprising to me. And I'm very grateful for it to have been a part of my life. And maybe we'll cross paths again one day.
Jesus.
But probably
Getting
not.
Sappy. Start tweeting at the vibrator companies. If we get a sponsor, we'll be back.
Get a sponsor. If you guys want to contribute $1 a month, we will be back. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We're not worth your money. We promised you t-shirts we never printed.
We can start a Patreon like the DisAfterDark guys do.
Okay. For the record, I got a design for t-shirts and y'all hated them. So that's kind of on y'all.
What is the Dick Brothers one?
Yeah.
Still should have done that Burn It Down.
Yeah,
one.
that was a good one.
I mean,
With the
still could.
Still could.
I mean, good.
We'll figure it out. But anything you guys want to say, just in case this is our last hurrah?
I hate you guys. Not the listeners. Just you guys in general.
We know.
Travis, I will still meet up next time I come down. We'll do our traditional grab a drink at Finnegan's and then ride Mummy.
Don't bother.
Ride Mummy and hold hands. We can still do that, but I hate you.
I thought y'all were going to do your traditional sharing a hot dog at Hot Dog Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, that depends on how the night
Craig
goes.
Lucas.
And Bruce Lee Malaby.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun, guys.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you want to find any of us, you can find me in particular over at HanBrolo77 on Twitter. That's the easiest way to interact with me. Kenny, where can we keep up with you?
In the loop, Kenny.
Don't bother.
Yeah, don't bother. I mean, you could if you want, in the loop, Kenny, but don't bother.
That's the truth. All right, Travis, what about you, man?
That's the truth. Travis Terrell12 on Twitter, Instagram, tterrell494, and I've actually been messing around with YouTube, which is just Travis Terrell. Look for me, and you'll see my ugly mug pop up. Come on, Kenny. What the hell, man?
The show's going on too long. I gotta pee again.
Is your bathroom like right next to your computer? Because that must be a pretty long mic cord.
Thankfully,
you're just pissing in a cup.
Thankfully, that bottle of water is right next to him.
Yeah.
It's fucking YouTube, you guys. Jesus. Can't take a joke. They shot that place up today. Did you guys see that? That shit's crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad that nobody. Well, the only person that died was the person that was shooting, but so that's
No,
good.
a couple of people died.
You sure about that? I thought they said they
I'm pretty
were
sure
just
they said
injured. I think that she was the only casualty.
I mean, I have to look again, but I thought they said 3 people died. Well, either way, this we can talk about this later.
Yeah,
I can be
Thanks for
found.
bring that up, Kenny.
I can be found every twice a week, right here. Slinging dick jokes and talking about family like the Vin Diesel of New Orleans should.
I like it. It's got a ring. It's got a ring to it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. This is Hunter signing off. Live the adventure. Just kidding. We used to say that on UOP. He's probably got that copywritten somewhere.
I think Universal has it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Lee's ripping them off.
Yeah.
Them background music
That
loops.
cease.
We notice, Malaby. We notice. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Bye.
You're going to watch nothing but trouble and then make love to your woman in the most uncomfortable position you've ever been in.
I'm cringing while you're telling me this, and I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
MHOG secreting, leaving a stain. You ain't as dope as us, bitch. Stay in your lane.